It's time to step inside the Octagon with your host, Ike Feldman.
Yo, what's up? Your boy Ike Feldman is back for another fundamental format of the Octagon. A beautiful monologue to start. That's what this is called, folks. And then a wonderful conversation or interview, folks. And then an outro. Now you get the script. The full format of the Octagon is back. I've been busy. Been paying them bills. The Octagon is not paid for yet. I hope you guys have figured that out. I get Ms. Money from NBC Sports and UFC 267, UFC 268, slightly a little more important than the Octagon, so I had to pay them bills. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff over these last 2 weeks. Talk to local guys on a big platform. Go check out the interviews with Al Yaquinta. Holy moly. Broke my heart that the local guys, John Vellante, Frankie Edgar, and of course, your boy, Al Yaquinta, got finished under the bright lights of MSG. Sucks for all parties involved, especially the fans that were there, and especially for the fighters. Nobody wants to go out like that in their backyard for a home game, essentially. So I poured in my best effort last week. Of course, they did. And this week is kind of a recovery, a reset. Your boy is drinking tea to feel a little better. But yeah, let's spin it forward. I had this interview in the can for about 10 days. And funny enough, I had to put on the same hat to make it seem like this is happening in concert. But your boy Steve Lee, the guy you don't know, the guy who is the glue of LAW MMA, the guy who's teammates with Al Yaquinta, Aljamain Sterling, and all the wonderful LAW MMA fighters. Steve Lee. I don't know what they would do without him. They'd probably hire somebody else. But Steve Lee is up now. You all are about to learn about a really good, really smart, really hardworking person. Enjoy.
Did you hydrate? Good. Get ready for another round inside the Octagon with your host, Ike Feldman.
What's up, fight fans? Your boy is back, Ike Feldman. Another week, another episode. Remember, we're keeping it as local fight news gets. And it doesn't get more local than the man behind the curtain, the Wizard of Nassau, maybe Suffolk, but the Wizard of Long Island and not Long Island MMA, Longo and Weidman Mixed Martial Arts Gym in Garden City. If you guys have not checked it out, it's a beautiful facility. Don't be a groupie. Go there to train, get your work in, and don't bother this man, Steve Lee, at Teven WEE on Instagram. Not sure if he's on Twitter, but Steve, you are a busy man. I will not waste your time. Let's start off with how you doing, brother?
Wow, like that is the nicest intro I've ever gotten on anything, so I appreciate that. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. It seems like your life is never boring. There's always something going on. I don't know if you were just born in the gym like Bane, like he was born in that cave. You seem like you were born in the gym. It's in your DNA. It's in your, I don't know, your energy just seems to connect with the gym atmosphere perfect. I'm sure there's a lot of chaos from time to time on an hour to hour, maybe on a day-to-day basis. Can you speak of where your chill, lax personality, and if you guys don't believe me, I'm telling you, follow him on Instagram at TevenWee. We'll get into where the origin of that name comes from, but let's start with the origin of your cool, calm persona. Where does that come from?
Well, I appreciate that a lot. I think just spending so much time around Longo. I mean, Ray, he kind of teaches me as much as he teaches about like MMA and fighting in general, teaches me a lot about life. So, I mean, anything in terms of just being calm and reasonable and like in these situations, because you're definitely right on a day-to-day basis. I mean, we are dealing with fighters and they're out of their fucking minds. So it is just constantly like chaos or something going down. So Yeah, no, I think just being around Ray and like watching him over all these years kind of helped me a lot understand like what the ins and outs of the sport are.
And speaking of Ray Longo, he has a very, very interesting energy, in my opinion.
Oh man.
He's connected to these worldwide, international superstars and personalities. And of course, he can mix and mingle with everybody on the planet. But deep down, I see a blue-eyed, good-looking young man who just seems like he's kind of quiet, but he puts on this lovely defense mechanism of getting along with everybody. Am I right on the money that maybe when he's alone, he's quiet, he likes to go for walks, keep things peaceful, or is he just a Metallica ripping and riding, kicking open the door, saying "Good Monday morning, what's up, everybody"? Can you
No,
take us behind the scenes with the master?
he's a little everything right there. I mean,
Okay,
one of my favorite things that Matt Serra says is Longo teaches us that we never really have to grow up, and I 100% believe that
love
because
that.
I mean, the guy's 800 years old. He's still going like, I mean, he's still going like he's in his 20s. I think it's amazing to watch him. And for me, for everyone, I think like for everyone around, they should be able to look at that and they should find some inspiration, like some motivation from that. Just seeing a guy that, despite his age, despite whatever injuries he's got, like, I'm 26. Wow, I have to think about that. That's terrible. But I'm 26 and, I got my fair share of injuries. I couldn't imagine being at Ray's age, like thinking about all the different things that he's probably had to been through. And still, he's in the gym every day. He's helping out. He's doing his own workouts every day. Yeah, I mean, that's just again, that should be motivating for everyone to see.
And I'm a big believer in like attracting to like, even though they say opposites attract. I believe that's true of my personal, like my wife relationship. That's the only opposite I've gotten along with. But generally, I believe opposite like attracts like, and real recognizes real. I don't know if you've heard, but on the UFC Unfiltered podcast with the great Jim Norton, of course, former UFC champion to take out GSP. Let's go, Matt Serra. They bring up your name quite a bit. And my point is of real recognizing real. Ray, you always seem to be connected with Ray at the hip. He seems to love your energy. Have you figured out why he tends to kind of keep you in his corner?
Well, again, that's awesome, and I do know, like, I try to explain to everyone too, like, I understand how blessed I am to be in the position that I am, like being around the guys that I'm around. Every day I'm just like, I don't know how the hell I got here. It really is something. It is special to me, so it's awesome in that way. But I think with me and Long, it's just such an organic thing that just happened over time. Like, that's what I try to explain to everyone. Like, a lot of guys that come in here, they're looking for something. They want this, they want that. Like, it never really was like that for me. It was just, I love training. I was here every day. Longo would have me, he'd ask me to help around with this and that. And I would be like, of course, I'm not going to say no to the guy. So just over years, it just became a very organic relationship. And I was always able to like joke around with him and, bust balls with him. And he was always, awesome and funny. And I guess just being around the guy so much, it just helped me grow as a person a lot more than I think a lot of people expected. So I'm really just blessed to be in the position that I'm at.
Now, again, you're very modest, and again, we're being joined by Steve Lee. Follow him on Instagram at TevenWeWee on Instagram. Now, you said that there's ball busting going on. Is that kind of a
Oh man,
prerequisite to be part of the gym or part of
and you got to
the
be ready for
family,
that.
to be one of the family?
I'm telling you, 24. You just got to be constantly ready when you're on the team. Like, these guys are brutal, man. Oh my goodness! Like, you do anything wrong, they're gonna be right on you. So, honest for me, that's my motivation to just do the right thing. I'm like, all right, I can't have one slip up around these guys. They're also gonna attack me all day. So, no, just if you want to be on the team, you just got to be ready for that.
And the craziest character of all, he seems like he's lurking in the background like Thanos for the first couple Avengers. Like you just hear a tease. Pete Sell, we obviously know about his UFC
Oh
career,
man,
man, but
Drago.
that guy is an animal, man, and
Oh
he's
no,
in the
Drago's a
background.
beast, man.
Yeah,
He's my first jujitsu coach. Drago, first of all, that guy, he grabs onto your arm, that thing's gone. I mean, the guy is a freaking beast, man, and he still
he
to
has
this
a
day.
grip like a lifetime of
Oh
plumber
no,
work.
absolutely no. That's exactly it. No, he's the man. He still helps out the next generation of guys. Like, he doesn't try to stand in like the spotlight. He just helps out the guys in the back. Ask whatever. I mean, whatever the guys ask of him, he's always there for. No, Drago's just the man. He's just one of the guys too. Like, he has no problem just being one of the guys to help out, and he really is awesome for that stuff. Like, a lot of guys, they want to be in the spotlight. It feels like it's more for them than just for the fighters. But Drago's just never going to be one of those guys, and I really genuinely appreciate that from him.
And you mentioned about the next generations. There's obviously the Pete Sells, the Matt Serras, the John Volantes, the Chris Weidmans, and then spun forward into the Ali Quintas, the Marabs, the Aljamain Sterlings, and then into the next generation. I feel like this is like the PlayStation explanation going on. We have the Steve Lee, the Justin Montalvos, the Pumi Nkuta. I hope I nailed that name. He's got to correct me, otherwise I feel like he's going to threaten my life. But can you speak of just I feel like you already spoken on, but there is no hostility in terms of like, okay, the torch has moved on. It seems like it's kind of like I don't know, like a ball busting soprano type of samurai dojo, like in a way.
No, that's what I think the best thing about this gym is, and and I tell everyone this too. Like, I appreciate you even mentioning my name with those guys, like, because everyone asks me like, oh, you're a fighter, you do that. I'm like, dude, I consider myself a gym manager. Like for me, like I just love being here, like the atmosphere, being around these guys all day. Like whenever I sign someone up to the gym, I tell them every single guy, it's the same speech, same thing every time, because I genuinely do mean it. When you come in here and you do the right things, everyone here is going to help you out. They're going to go out of their way. They're going to reach a hand and say, hey, maybe you want to try this, or they're never going to, like really try to force you to do anything, but they'll go out of their way to help you out. And if you're kind of an asshole, you just don't tend to stay very long. But that's what I mean. Like the guys like Aljo, Marab, like those guys, they help the next generation whenever they're in here. Just constantly, you see them like little tidbits here and there. Like, hey, hey, you're in this position, do this. You're in this position, do this. Like, maybe and they'll just even like life things. They'll help out. Like Al, and I know Al's helped a lot of guys out in this gym. And he'll never go out and like tell the whole world like, oh, look what I'm doing, look how I'm helpful. He just does it. He just does the right thing, which I think is amazing. And those are just the things I've seen. I'm sure there's like millions of things that these guys like Aljo, Marab, Weidman, Al, all of them have done just on a daily basis to help out that we don't really even recognize. So just having this kind of culture here, having the kind of guys we have here, I think is just something special. And I guess you get to kind of see that with the guys that are coming up. Like you see how Justin finished his last fight. You see how Pumi's dominating. It does make you see like, wow, it works. You come to kind of believe everything they're telling you.
And again, we're being joined by Steve Lee. You seem in a very specific, particular position than anybody else that we mentioned in the prior generation or the current generation. Obviously, you had the huge win October 16th. You were eating Nathan hot dog and putting the beat down on your opponent on Coney Island. That was fantastic. Same weekend that Justin Montalvo at the Flex Fight Series was getting the job done. So obviously a big weekend for LAW MMA. And the following weekend, tough go for Mr. Dylan Montello, but I believe he will be back. There's no doubt about it. I don't know how the hell that guy gets down to 155, but James Gonzalez, Dennis Bazukia, I'm getting good with the pronunciations. It just seems like a complete team effort, but I want to focus on your specific role. You seem like light years ahead of your age. You see 26. It seems like if you reverse the digits, you seem like 64, like kind of a young mentor, maybe a guy who can take the torch one day. I don't know, from somebody, one of your higher ups. Why specifically you? Can you connect with everybody on a certain level? Are you a very well-spoken person? Do you motivate somebody well? Are you able to just kind of lay on the puddle, let somebody walk over you so they can better themselves? Why exactly are you roommates with Ray Longo? What have you done to the mini bar? Explain these road trips, man. Why is it you in the room?
I'll tell you, the road trips are freaking unreal, man. This guy Longo's nuts. The road trips are freaking. I thought about that myself a couple times too. First, I think
stealing raid in the mini bar.
But if anyone's raiding the mini bar, it's Longo. By the way, it's definitely him. But no, I think it's a little combination of everything you said. I always considered myself like an older guy. I don't know why. I grew up with one older brother, but he was out of the house early, so I was kind of taking care of myself from when I was pretty young. So I always kind of thought that was a big factor in it. But I think, again, like combination of everything you said, like I train with these guys on a daily basis, so I can connect with them. I know what they're going through. I've had competitions, whether it be wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing fights, MMA fights. I know what these guys are thinking a lot of times, like when they're in those scenarios. And also just on a personal level, I connect to a lot of these guys because they're just good guys. They're my friend. Like I consider them my friends. So I want to see the best for them, whether like I have to say something that might hurt someone's feelings. I want them to genuinely know, like I wouldn't say it otherwise. I wouldn't say it unless I thought it was for the best thing for them. Otherwise I would just keep my mouth shut. And I think Ray kind of knows that too. Like I know my place. I'm not gonna. I like helping out. I like doing my thing. Like I like being able to train every day. I'm a pretty easy guy, man. I'm a simple dude, so I'm easy to read. Like if I'm your guy, like if you're my guy, you're my guy. Like I'll help you all the way through. But again, like if you're a guy that's looking out for your own thing, I can't really tell what you're looking for. It's a little. It takes time for me to warm up to them. That's on me though.
Gotcha. I respect it, man. Old school, old school. I don't know if that comes from you on your own self, on your own, or connecting with Ray Longo and Matt Serra. It seems
I
like
think it's a little of both. That yeah.
okay, fantastic. And as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, October 16th in Coney Island, getting the job done, improving to 3-2 in your amateur record. What is your why? It seems like you're talented in your words, and obviously you have physical gifts to train with these guys on a daily basis and continue to stay healthy. Thank God for that. But why are you stepping in there on the cage on fight night?
Well, that's the thing. Like that part selfishly is just for me. Like that's what I try to get to these guys. Like, and what you said is perfect. Like, what's your why? I think for a lot of guys, they either don't know their why or their why is just not that impressive to me. I respectfully, like some guys like, okay, so again, I told you we deal with maniacs in here all the time. So like one kid a couple like weeks or months ago, my time frame is terrible, but some kid comes up to me, is like, hey Steve, I'm looking to take a fight, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah man, like you gotta probably put some more training in. He's only been here for a few months at the time, like you should probably put more training in, blah blah blah.
He's
and
got
like,
neck tattoos. He's got the Conor McGregor suits. He goes, I think I'm ready.
yeah, it's basically one of those scenarios. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, you don't spar, you don't do this. Like, come on, man. Like, what do you mean you want to fight? Like, he's like, yeah, well, I'm like, when do you want to fight? He's like, my friends are leaving for college in like August. Like, I'd like to fight by then. I'm like, dude, that's not a real reason to me. Like, to me, that's like, I don't even know what the hell that means. Like, I really just walked away from the conversation at that point. Like, but again, like a reason like that, like, that's not a real why to me. Like, so for me, like, I get to do this because I love competing. I love being allowed to be in there and free and do what I want to do. And that, again, for me, it took a while to realize that too, because I didn't understand what I'm doing. So when you're in there, you're not truly your full self. So I think that's a big portion of it. Like when I'm in there, like my last fight, I think that was in terms of like an experience, like I was able to really be fully present in there. And I was just who I was. I'm talking, I'm bullshitting, I'm kind of having fun. Like
Nice.
but because I don't have to be that fake tough guy that some guys have to be. Like I can be whoever I want to be or who I am, and it makes the fighting so much easier because then I don't have to be fake. I can just be exactly who I am. And again, I think that's just something a lot of guys don't figure out till either it's too late or until they take too many beatings. Luckily, I only had to take a couple, so I'll take that. But no, I think again, I'm just in a very lucky position to have the people I have around me to explain some of these things to me too.
And where do you want to take this fight night in the cage journey? How far do you want to take this?
As far as it can go, like quite frankly, like if it's like I'm a pretty reasonable guy. Like I'm not looking to like a lot of these guys, they want yachts and they want this and that. Look, man, I just want to compete. Like
It's the same guy with the neck tattoo.
Yeah, this is 100%. I got to stop picking on that guy, but like that's really what it is for me. It's just I love competing. I don't like saying this because this can sometimes be used against you. I would do it for free. Like I really would. It's just something I would actually just and kind of like at the amateur level you do really. So like clearly I
don't almost pay to enter some of these.
100%. No, really. Like I lose money on these usually, but I mean that. Like I want to, as long as I'm healthy, I want to compete as much as I can. So, if you really mean that, like you see a guy like Khamzat Chimaev, for example, I think he's a great example of that. Like dude, that guy loves to fight. Like what the hell are we even talking about here? Like we got
kill everybody. I was like, whoa. He loves to
like,
fight
right,
too
man,
much.
like,
I have a gun for everybody.
Oh no,
like,
he's hyped. Yeah.
The UFC PR team's like, cut to the promo.
That guy out of the cage. Like that guy's I'm telling you, like you see a guy like that, I'm like, no, he genuinely, you can tell he wants to fight. Like, I think a lot of guys think they want to fight. So once I kind of figured out, I'm like, oh man, like I do want to go in there. Like I really actually genuinely want to do this. So like, what's stopping me? So, for me, as long as I can be healthy and do this, and as long as I can like have save some of my brain cells, like keep those intact, a couple of them at least, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Like I can't complain with my life right now is what I'm saying.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, the brain cell thing. Again, we're being joined by Steve Lee. Follow him on Instagram at Teven. He is the co-owner of LAW MMA. It's
Manager. I don't
Longo
want to say man. I don't want to say
and
oh.
Lee MMA. Weidman is now Carolina. Get out of here with that tweet saying that Carolina pizza. No, it is now Longo and Lee MMA. Get out. I'm just kidding, Chris. I love you, man. Well, obviously, it's your gym. You're welcome into your gym whenever you come back, brother. I hope everything's going well with your recovery.
Always.
But you mentioned brain cells, and obviously, brain health is a big topic nowadays. And I think Ray does an excellent job at connecting on different levels in modern technology. We obviously see him on the John Anik and Florin podcast. We see him all over. I'm sure he's got a Snapchat we don't know about. Maybe at OnlyFans for all you ladies, for all the cougars out there. But where do you get your data from? Are you stealing from podcasts? Are you listening or reading articles? You got to pay $1 for now to read something on Newsday, but where are you getting your information? And you, Ray, and the managers at LAW MMA, are you guys meeting once a week? How do you guys strategize sparring? Like, I know this is a big question, but are you kind of rolling with the times?
Well, I'll say, I think in terms of, like, I talk about this with Ray all the time. Like, in terms of technology, I don't think there is a better point in history than we are right now. You can gather data in so many different ways. So for me personally, like, I love podcasts, I love audiobooks. Like, I genuinely do enjoy them. So it's easy for me. Like, I can try to ingest as much information as I can all day. Like, I started physically reading books again pretty recently, but I just watch fights all the time. We have ESPN Plus, UFC Fight Pass, we have everything here. And just YouTube alone, you can see, a lifetime's worth of fighting. Like, you can see old boxing fights, you can watch kickboxing fights recently, Muay Thai, everything. So in terms of like information, it's not, there's no problem getting information at this point. I think everyone knows what they know, and now it's just about who can implement what they can implement best. So
I was going to say, what about applying it? Have you run into any like knuckleheads along the way where it's like, no, maybe you should take a rest day? Because I've heard a lot on Rogan, the Henry Cejudo podcast. He said he was run down, and now they even say it takes more confidence to imply a rest day, maybe back-to-back rest days.
Look, and to some extent, I do believe that. But okay, so this is my counter argument to that: is for Cejudo to get to where he wasn't doing that though. Like, that's the part he has to acknowledge. Like, before that, he was training twice a day, every day, like a madman. So now he gets to, like, when he gets to the position where he's at, now he gets to take 2 days off. Like, because when you win your Olympic gold medal, then you get to take 2 days off. Like, that's what I try to explain to some of the guys, like, which I understand. Like, look, your body's feeling it, but I think a portion of it is like, you hear some of these guys so much that I don't want to, it's tough because, like, you don't want to bash anybody, but like, it just gives a lot of people an excuse to be like, okay, now I can take 2 days off. So Henry Cejudo takes 2 days off. I'm like, yeah, but like how do you know? The guy has a team of scientists around him telling him, your body's doing this. Like, yeah, like, I don't have that. So when I take a day off, I kind of have to force myself to take a day off. Like, I really just, personally, I don't really believe in taking days off, honestly. So it's even hard for me to answer that kind of question, because I just never really applied that. I just think if this is what you want to do. So I had a conversation recently with somebody. They were talking about, how this recent influx of like Dagestani, Russian, those Eastern European fighters.
Seriously.
And someone was like, oh man, those guys are just built different. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Like, he has 2 arms, 2 legs. Like, he has a head. Like, what do you mean he's built different? Like, no, he just trains harder than you guys. Like, he just is ready to wrestle hard for 25 or 15 minutes or whatever the allotted time is. And wrestling is hard, and a lot of you guys don't practice that. Like, you see the best guys in terms of MMA who like the guys who do the best against a lot of these Dagestani wrestlers. It's guys who had good folk style wrestling, who could scramble, who wouldn't settle for any of these positions, and guys who have good enough jiu-jitsu. Obviously, I'm biased here, but when Al fought Khabib,
yes, sir,
he went all 5 rounds with him on 24 hours. And again, Al's the kind of guy who will never mention these kind of things, but the guy was injured going into that. The most wrestling he did was he would drill a takedown or 2 on me and one of my buddies, who, again, like, we're high school wrestlers. Like, we're not really like, this guy ends up fighting Khabib. We're just 2 different levels, all right? Like, and big level gap. So I'm like, holy shit.
Barely, just a little.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm like, holy shit, this guy Al's fucking crazy. Like, he literally went from 0 wrestling to going to fight Khabib.
And
And
training
then
for a
that was his
kickboxer, I
downfall.
can't.
Oh, absolutely. No, that was the upside of that fight. Like, like despite the injury, he's like, all right, it's gonna be a kickboxing bout basically. So like we can just focus on that. When it changes to Khabib, you're like, holy shit, this guy Ally Quint is out of his mind. And he says yes, of course. But again, I think he was able to find so much success because he had the ability to wrestle, and not just the way they wrestle, the way the Americans wrestle, which is predominantly folk style. And he also has the jujitsu credentials, like I think legit jujitsu to defend that too. So again, like some of these guys, they'll find a million different reasons why not to train. I'll find just one reason to train, and I think that's the difference between a lot of these high level guys. And again, like just the sport of MMA so far. I think the sport of MMA is so new that, oh yeah, these Dagestani guys are going to crush a lot of these Americans until the Americans realize, well, we got to really make this a professional sport and train like professionals.
Wow. Strong answer on
Sorry about that. That was a
many
whole
levels, man. No, I like about the training mindset because Rogan would even admit, I'm telling you, in his 30s, when he's like training like an animal with Eddie and Jean-Jacques Machado, like he complains now. It not complains. He talks about his neck injuries, his knee injuries.
No.
But
Oh,
that was to get to your black belt.
Yeah, of course. No, like he got his black belt. Like, so no, I mean, at that point, like, what do you want more than? Like, do you want whatever your goal is, your black belt, your UFC belt, your UFC career, whatever your aspirations are? Like, do you care that more about that, or do you care more about my back hurts, my foot? Like, so like, just tell me what your priority is. Like, okay, like, my priority is I want to be healthy and fight as much as I can. So like, I got to make sure I'm both. I don't want to be like in my 40s and completely decrepit. Like, I would ideally like to be able to get out of this with some of my faculties and some of my joints still in place. So I know what I'm about. Like some of these guys, like they're just like I just don't know what they're here for.
And the mind is the most powerful thing. It's like the same thing with the back pain. People can like filter their mind that they have to get from point A of being sober to point B, where marijuana is going to heal everything for them.
Yeah.
I've heard excuses for everything.
Whatever you read. Look, how about if like this guy's back was hurting that much, and let's say I fucking put it back to his knee. I'm telling you, he's gonna forget about the back altogether. Like he's like his back doesn't hurt anymore. It's the same thing. Like, what do you care more about? Like, okay, like yeah, my back hurts, but I have to train today. Like I have to do this. I have to just go and I have to go drill. Like I can drill for like 30 minutes. If my back starts tightening up, I'll call it. Like there's ways around it, but certain guys, I think this sport is so young that you can get away with that. But then when you get these guys that have been doing this forever, they're professionals that are, and more than anything, I can think the word you'd have to kind of use it is just discipline, that are super disciplined about this. You're going to have a bad time. It's just going to be a tough time, man. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Are you born and raised on Long Island?
No, I was actually born in Korea. Excuse me. I was born in Korea. I grew up in Colorado, actually, and I came out here for school as well as training, obviously.
My goodness. Then can you speak on why the hell are so many gyms out in Colorado just killers? You got Easton out there. I had the privilege of joining, hang out at the Easton gym.
Nice.
Ludwig's kickboxing.
Ludwig's.
Ludwig called it spaceshipping when he handed me a bowl and he says, "Young grasshopper, you're gonna get on a spaceship with me." I go, "Okay, this is new age journalism."
Yep,
you also have Factory X out there.
Yep.
And then it's like everywhere outside of the gym, everybody's like extremely polite, just getting gas, just ordering at a restaurant. It just seems like the mentality, just Rocky Mountain High, like everybody seems really cool and laid back. And then Steve, you come over to Long Island, a bunch of brutes, sometimes knuckleheads. How does this mix happen?
So I mean, first of all, I love Colorado. Like I do love it, and I do tell everyone like that's someplace I'd retire to. Like if I was just done with my life. Oh, I don't say that, but like if I was just done doing what I'm doing, yeah, I'd love to retire in Colorado, a place like that at least. Because exactly what you said, just calm, chill, and all the gyms you spoke of, I was able to actually train out while I was down there too, obviously.
Nice.
And whenever I do go down, I try to like, jump around, see what's out there. But when I was out there was never really, the most they had was Grudge Training Center, but that was about like an hour and a half from the school I would have gone to. So it really wasn't. For me, it was always just, I did want to, like, no matter where I was going to school, I just wanted to get the best training I could possibly get. So I saw at the time, Weidman just won his belt over Anderson Silva. and he always repped Hofstra, and he was always like, you know, Hofstra this, Hofstra that. I was a Hofstra D1 All-American. I was like, oh, Hofstra. They kind of got stuck in my head, so I looked it up. I like applied. They gave me like this nice scholarship based on just my grades alone, which I was like, holy shit, that's ridiculous. All right, so I took that, and yeah, I mean, that's history since.
And that's it. And now you have a very angry landlord, a guy who
Oh
can
yeah.
be just an overlord and podcast host who bosses you around, and that's that's the life you. I'm just kidding. Are you in Sterling's house right now?
No, I'm at the gym right now. Actually, I'm in my little office.
Oh, gut. Did you ever live there? Do you live there?
Oh
currently?
no, I still live there. Yeah.
Okay, can you take us behind the scenes? Pumi was very reserved, man. I go, come on, give me something. Nobody threw a remote at somebody's head. I go, nobody smashed the TV over somebody's back.
We're pretty easy, except when we're playing video games. That's about it. Like
what
the only
games?
time it ever, just Super Smash. I would say Super Smash Bros.
Falcon Punch, baby, all day.
That's my dude. None of these guys can touch me. And these guys, I mean, look, you'll just hear lies from them. You'll hear straight, nah. It's actually crazy, some of these guys, what they say. But that's pretty much the most competitive game we've got. Like, it's Super Smash Bros. And yeah, that's basically the whole house. Actually, chess too. Aljo's really big on chess right now. So I have to occasionally school him in that. But aside from that, no, it's pretty laid back.
And again, we're being joined by Steve Lee. Steve, I appreciate the time, man. I know we're rolling into your lunch break, or like, I don't know, your Tinder swiping or whatever you do at this time of day. But I really appreciate the time. With Aljo, man, I'm wearing the Fight Island hat. He's gonna fight the winner, which is Peter Yan from UFC 267's co-main event. Can you take us behind the scenes? Why is Aljamain Sterling going to retain the UFC's bantamweight title whenever they clash? I doubt it's going to be December. I know he was looking for that maybe a month ago. I think Jan's going to kind of pull like I'm the A side now and say like maybe.
I mean, I think Aljo said recently or on his podcast that he was looking for the first quarter of January, which I think, or first quarter of 2022, which I think is awesome. Look, I think, first of all, that fight Jan just had was fucking phenomenal, right? I mean, that was a great fight, bantamweight, between him and Sandhagen.
I underestimated him. I picked Sandhagen 100%. I didn't know Jan was that powerful.
I just thought, I mean, a lot of people pick Sandhagen, and I said it too. I think Sandhagen could have easily just danced on the guy too, potentially. But
is that dominoes?
Shit, that's Ray Longo. Oh, 100. I told you this was happening. I want you, Ike, real quick. You want to say hi to Longo? This is what I deal with every day.
Ike, are you that desperate? Ike, don't do this. Ike, turn around.
Nah. Get out of here. Close that door on your way out.
Wait,
Longo,
I have a question for Ray.
Ike, don't do this to yourself, please. Don't do it.
Ray, I got a beautiful young 60-year-old woman who can make a mean chicken parm. Are you single, my man?
Oh, no, he's happily married. The best woman ever. Like, stay.
Never mind.
Hey, Ike, it depends on what day it is.
Oh my God, get him at. This is what I'm dealing with right now.
Send me a pic. I'll tell you if I'm married. But you might have had me at the chicken farm.
And this is the mentor of the great Steve Lee.
My guy right here. That was the great Ray Longo. Hi, Ray. Unbelievable. You see what I'm dealing with, right?
Like, dude, you gotta be on the you gotta be like hand on the holster. You gotta be ready to pull the trigger. Unbelievable.
I lock that door. That's what my mistake was.
What the hell were we talking about?
Oh, the Jan Sandhagen. Yeah, I mean Jan.
Yes.
And you know what? I had the same conversation with Longo too. Actually, like, easily could have seen Sandhagen just dancing on the guy. What he did in the first round, be able to do that for all 5 rounds. I thought that was a possibility. But I mean, look, I told everyone before the fight I picked Jan just because I think he's going to make all the adjustments. I think he is just that good in terms of the striking, in terms of just his overall fight IQ. I think he's a problem for everyone. I just think Aljo is capable of things that no one's. I'm telling you, like, the things he does in this gym is truly terrifying. It's actually phenomenal, and I don't think people have seen all of his, which is crazy that he's got the belt right now. And I still think the fans haven't seen truly what he's capable of. Like, the things he can do in here are fucking, to me, astonishing. And if Aljo can produce what he produces in here in the cage, there's not a bantamweight in the world that's going to touch him.
And he has, and he will. He just can't have those blueberry pancakes at the Deo. I believe Holy
shit.
Deep down, did he want Jan to win?
I I think so. I really do. I think either way, I think Aljo would have been happy either way, just in the sense that, like,
Of course.
Sandhagen wins. He gets a great fight. He wins against Sandhagen. I think we all kind of thought too, like, regardless, Jan's, I think, good enough. He's gonna be right there. Like, even if Sandhagen wins this, Aljo choked out Sandhagen again, Jan's right there. Like, he's gonna be in line. Like, don't worry, we're gonna have to deal with that guy at some point. Like I think he's gonna be here for a little bit unless his chin just goes away. So I think that guy's a problem for everyone. So you have to respect him. You have to respect his skills. I still think he does some dirty shit in every one of his fights, but it is what it is. But no, you just have to be ready for a guy like that.
I know, man. He's out there freaking kneeing training partners and open workouts.
Yeah,
It doesn't end with this guy. It
even like
doesn't
his
end.
one loss before, I think it was an ACA. I think it was because of point deduction. I think it was either illegal knee, illegal kick, something. So like the guy has a history of unfortunately doing stupid shit. So.
I was gonna say, John Jones is not undefeated in my opinion. It's like everybody wants to say, yeah, he was dominated Hamill at the time. I go, not only undefeated, but after so many countless eye pokes and illegal knees and stuff, that really one happened for a reason. Steve, real quick, are you still associated with the W2W program?
Well, the gym is still associated with that. We're still working out all the details, but yes, no, we definitely are. And those guys are awesome. They've always been super, super kind to us.
We all know now that you had the October 16th huge win, Coney Island. Mm-hmm. What's next for you in terms of getting in there on fight night?
Ideally I'm looking for something like January, February. My main thing, again, like we discussed, is I just gotta make sure I'm healthy, and I've had a couple different issues over the last few years that I kind of got to make sure still in order. But aside from that, just as long as I'm healthy, I'll jump in there every weekend if I can.
My man. And where the hell is the origin of your Instagram handle? At Teven WEE. Teven Wee.
Yep, that's Teven Wee. I don't know. In high school, like my freshman year, there was a guy named Steve Lee. Another guy named Steve Lee. He was a senior. So obviously he gets seniority over me. So, we can't both be Stephen Lees around here. So I think they gave him, actually, this was the weird part. I think they gave him the nickname Teven Wee. But then I ended up adopting it. So I just made that my Instagram handle back in like, however old I was, like 15, when I was like 15, 16. So I made that and I just kind of ran with it ever since. Teven Wee, easy.
All right. Fantastic. Steve Lee at Teven Wee. Somewhere the other Steve Lee is crying in Colorado and just upset now. He has to actually go by his actual name on Instagram. Steve, I really appreciate the name. You are a present mind in this sport. You are the future generation of this sport, man, in every which way, hands on, mind on. I love what you do for the sport, and you represent Strong Island like no other, man. You have the grit, the knowledge, the experience, and I think the sky's the limit with you and Longo and Weidman MMA. I appreciate the time, brother.
Hey, thank you so much. Just make sure, actually, can you say that when Longo comes back in here? I want him to hear those compliments real quick. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate the time, man.
Steve Lee, thank you. Octagon fans, thank you guys for liking, subscribing, most of all, listening. It drives me nuts when a family member doesn't listen to me when I say something that could potentially better themselves in terms of, hey, watch out, there's a car coming. But thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate the clicks, the likes, the retweets, the favoriting, the reposting, the snap facing, swiping. You guys are the best. I appreciate it. More Octagon coverage coming your way. Remember, as local fight news gets, UFC 268 happened. I needed to digest. Last time I covered a MSG card and then was on the air, it was just a mess. I almost broke into tears when my boy Chris Weidman got pieced up. Anyway, have a good day, have a good night, good afternoon. Love you guys. Bye.